Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the No Mustard Podcast. This podcast is brought to you from the purchase of my magazines and art by viewers like you. You can learn more about my work or join the Fast Food Legend newsletter by visiting fastfoodlegend.com. I'd like to introduce my guest this week, Mitch Goldstein, a designer, artist, educator, and author whose work spans graphic design, photography, sculpture, and furniture design. He's an associate professor at the Rochester Institute of Technology and the author of How to Be a Design Student and How to Teach Them. Welcome, Mitch. Thanks for joining us today.
It is my pleasure, Sam. Great to meet you, and thanks for having me on.
So I thought today we're going to have a look at the Rochester fast food scene.
Okay.
I'm going to show you an image. You're going to tell me all about it, okay?
I'll do my best.
And when I tell me all about it, it can be anything you want to talk about, anything you see in the picture, memory, observation, whatever it is.
Oh. Okay.
Let's start here, and I'm sure you're familiar with this landmark that welcomes everybody to the city of Rochester, and that is the Dairy Queen Welcome to Your Rochester Grill and Chill sign.
That does seem very on brand for us. Kind of quaint, but corporately structured at the same time. Yeah, that works for me. I'm not a huge DQ guy, but I respect the integrity.
But tell me about the idea of having a sign like this. I mean, it looks like it's die-cut aluminum or metal of some kind.
I mean, it seems very it's sort of I'm reading it as very much in our current dystopia of a sort of corporately sponsored attempt to be humanistic greeting to a city. Like the corporately sponsored welcome seems pretty on brand for right now, I would say, in this year 2026. But I will say, well designed, attractive sign, aluminum, die cut, looks nice. The DQ logo's working. I've seen worse. Worse.
And then before we go somewhere else, let me just have a look at the exterior of the building. I know that different cities have different landmarks. For example, St. Louis has the Arch, and Rochester. Come on. Open file. What's going on here? Open. Yes. Rochester has the big spoon.
The big red spoon. Yep.
Yeah.
Very nice. I feel
Tell me about that.
It's iconic. I'm not sure that's a city-sanctioned welcome mascot, but it could be. It could be. I remember when I was first coming up here 13 or 14 years ago, one of the stats I read was that Rochester has an extremely high per capita of independent restaurants. That it's not quite. I think Ithaca, New York, is another huge one, which is kind of down the road. But that relative to other cities our size, that Rochester has a lot of independent, non-franchise places, and yet this just feels really on point. I've seen an awful lot of strip malls up here, so this does feel like it fits into the fabric of our fair city.
Okay. Next, we're going to have a look at the local Wendy's. Have you been to the Wendy's?
I have been to many a Wendy's.
Okay.
Many a Wendy's.
So I'm sure you're familiar with this location.
I'm not sure I could pick it off a map, but I sense its reality. It feels very truthful to me.
Why do you think the TV was placed there?
In an attempt to placate those eating their food at the Wendy's. I'm generally not a in-restaurant fast food person. I'm more of a drive-through fast food. First of all, I'm not a huge fast food person anymore. But when I do fast food, it is always drive-through, and it is often in my car post drive-through. So I can't speak with any true authority on the interiors of said restaurants. But I have to assume it is just a nod toward the media, a sort of gesture at the welcoming the outside world into the Wendy's.
So in your book, you advocate for a type of collaborative education where it's not just the teacher pushing information to the students absorbing the information and then practicing what they've learned because it's creativity. And with that in mind, this picture's taken from Google Maps. I've never been to the Wendy's in Rochester, and I love user images on Google Maps. So the photographer here has staged the image with the chair facing the television at a 45-degree angle,
Yep.
some sort of plate that they have not yet consumed.
Yeah,
And then,
something is in there.
of
Yep.
course, you can see the paper napkin on the floor. And one of the things that I'd love for you to look at this image, right? And tell me about the difference between talent and creativity.
Um, that's an interesting question. I think that, boy, that's a good question.
Is this photographer talented?
I think yes, because I think that I see a sort of mise en scène here. This is not just this, to me, this is not just a random snapshot. There's some placement, right? Now, I think we'll call them an artist, whether the artist choose to place this stuff or whether it was just there and they happen to see it, I think that is equally talented. I think both of those are valid forms of expression, right? Like they happened upon it and caught it, which is great, or they happened upon it, adjusted it, and then sort of documented it, which is equally valid as far as I'm concerned. So I do appreciate that there was some effort put in here. It isn't just, it feels more than casual to me. Um, but I think the difference between talent and creativity, I think that it's about sort of, I think it's about effort. It's about like output. It's about process and sort of doing the thing. I think you can be talented and not necessarily do a whole lot with it, but I think that creativity comes from some sort of, for at least what I do, some sort of visual manifestation, or if you're a musician, an audio manifestation of that talent, right? So it's kind of like ideas are easy, but executing ideas are very, very difficult, or at least I find them very, very difficult. And so I think that for me, like creativity has more, I guess I care a little more if I had to quantify it somehow, like it kind of matters more to me than talent. I think talent is, you either kind of have it or you don't. I think you could argue you could be educated and to become talented, and that's all kind of a different conversation. But I think that creativity is what you do. It's like the applied talent, maybe is a way to put it, and sort of pushing out from yourself with that creativity and where that goes.
I see.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at this Arby's. And this is where I have a different point of view than you would have.
Okay.
I feel like the creativity is the thing that you're born with, and that it's a very limited number of people, overall who are legitimately creative.
Uh-huh.
And the talent, there's a much bigger talent pool of people who are technically skilled but lack the creativity. And I think this Arby's is a perfect demonstration of that, because you have this Arby's from the 1980s. Somebody was talented and they designed the Arby's well in the 1980s. And then the advertisements were made today by another talented person. But the designer of this location, the franchise owner or the manager or whoever it was, lacked the creativity to figure out how to place a modern advertisement in an old building. And so it just sticks out here like a sore thumb.
Or counterpoint, or is this person exceptionally creative because it is sticking out like a sore thumb instead of getting lost in all the minutia, and all the noise of sort of strip mall reality. I mean, I think that's an actually a pretty aggressive and potentially uh, specific placement versus it just fits here.
It is, and I also found it curious that a fast food chain would push their franchisees to literally knock down buildings and build new buildings that were contextual with the style, as opposed to making multiple versions of the advertisements to fit when the building was rolled out.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, this is this a newly built retro Arby's?
No,
Like,
this is well, it's in Rochester. It looks
yeah,
to me like it was built in the 80s.
like it's an actual
It's an actual
artifact.
right, and
Yeah.
then they're trying to push the new signage in.
Versus one of the new retro Pizza Huts that
Correct.
are intentionally being built now
Correct.
to look like the 80s red roof Pizza Huts. Yeah, I mean,
Correct.
to me, this ad looks very modern. It looks very contemporary with the typeface and the sort of aggression of it, and the photography feels very, of now, basically.
Well, it says new at the top.
Yeah, but new to who?
Great
I
question.
mean, what is new, really?
Let's go to our next stop here. This is the Burger King. Tell me about it.
I think that the Burger King has become sort of a dead entity to me. It no longer exists in my worldview. I think that they have become. I am a very much a child of the '80s, '70s, and '80s, and so the original BK chicken sandwich was the fast food item, like the oblong long,
Hmm.
which I think they still sell, but that was the premium of the fast food. Was the days you get to go to BK and get the OG chicken. And look at this now. It could be anything. If you like put your thumb sort of over that logo, it could be anything. It could be selling sneakers. It could be doing H&R Block tax returns. So they're just completely devoid of any kind of humanity. And Burger King did what I thought was like a pretty good rebrand a few years ago, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. I'm losing the date here. And it was kind of like this retro vibe, but felt really good. It wasn't like this cheesy, excruciating retro thing. It was actually, I think, really well executed. But this feels so dead. This feels like an unalived thing, like it's a nothing. Could be a mortuary, could be file storage, could be anything. It's too bad.
I had a completely different reaction to
Mm.
it. I burst out laughing when I saw it. Um, the first thing is let's go with your theory. Let's put our thumb over the BK logo and just look at the building. It is an urban building. It looks like the facade of the first floor of a big building in a major
Yep.
city. But yet it is completely dropped here in a suburban sprawl
Mm-hmm.
where it does not belong. And so, for one, you see that brick wall there. It could be used as a set piece for short form video content, which is something everybody's looking for. Where am I going to film my YouTube or
Right.
TikTok or whatever? So it's a multi-purpose set that's urban and allows a suburban teenager to pretend that they are in a big city making their videos. It doesn't belong anywhere in its surroundings. So I thought that was actually quite intriguing. Yes, it's generic, but it's generic enough to be used as a place that people would want to go use it for something. The other thing I was very intrigued by with this building is that it doesn't look like fast food. It's like a bank or something
Yeah.
like that. And so while it makes for a great set piece, and it is confusing to the person who pulls up to it, um, it disengages you from the consumption of the food because you start to think, why am I sitting in a bank eating a hamburger?
Right.
So that was a little weird, but the practicality of it was I thought it was a very practical choice.
I think it's I mean I respect what you're saying, but to me it feels like a facade. I mean it's literally a facade, but metaphorically a facade of authenticity, right? Like I think that brick is probably, I don't know that much about construction. It's probably a half an inch thick. It's just kind of slapped on this wall, right? It's in no way structural, in no way does anything. It's purely sort of an aesthetic kind of spray paint on the wall. Um, and I don't know. I think that what I miss about the old school fast food from, again, for me was '70s and '80s, was that you understood it was fast food. There was no pretense. It wasn't healthy. You couldn't get a salad. they were not kidding around. It was shitty and greasy and nasty, and that's what it was all about, and it was awesome. Whereas this, like you said, this could be a Starbucks, this could be a bank, this could be anything. And so I don't know. I appreciate Burger King's the sort of corporate office's desire to get lots of TikToks in front of their Rochester BK. I think that is a valid marketing strategy in 2026. But to me, it feels almost inhuman in a way.
Do you also think when I looked around the neighborhood on Google Maps, it's sort of run down, right? It's sort of just old suburban stores that are 20 or 30
Uh-huh.
years old. I also saw this as a kind of a respite for a younger generation that lives online, that
Yeah.
likes aesthetically pleasing things, and that is finds it depressing. Like there was a I can't remember which one was right near there. There was some thing that, just like that 80s Arby's we just looked at, for example, that it does not look fun in a retro way. It just looks run down and sad and depressing.
Right.
And here this was brand new and therefore a destination.
But doesn't that, but to me, it reads the opposite. It reads as something to run away from, not to run toward, because it is so devoid of any sort of DNA, like any reality, any realness of itself. It's so generic and
So
it's so
this
nothing that I guess within the again, I don't know exactly. There's many a Burger King up here in Rochester, so within the neighborhood, I'm certain it looks like relatively new compared to what's around it. But I think what's around it is probably a hell of a lot more interesting and a lot more engaging. Whereas this, the artifice of this is just kind of I don't know. For me, it feels very sort of that like it could be like it's like the corporate housing that the four-story retail first floor, all those buildings that are going up everywhere in every urban area, which are essentially identical. So is it clean? Absolutely. Is it sanitized? Absolutely. Is it quote comfortable? Absolutely. But I don't think it's good.
okay.
I don't think it's good. I think it just is.
All right. Let's look at the local Chipotle. I love this one. Tell me about it.
I mean, I kind of have to admit I sort of love Chipotle. And I think they have done a really good job at the sort of what do they call it? Like the third place, where it's like your home is the first place, your work is the second place, and then like where you go hang out. Even though you're not gonna like necessarily hang out at a burrito store, but it sort of has like quote designed furniture. It isn't this generic like extruded plastic furniture. There's a lot of like at least the ones I've seen have a lot of like sort of raw plywood in them. And so I do feel like there is a really smart game they're playing with, again, it is all fake, but a sort of patina of authenticity that in some ways is really quite successful. I mean, I've never walked into a Chipotle and been irritated, at least with the space, maybe with what happened when I got there, but like the
Oh,
space
they get
is very
destroyed.
inviting.
No, they
Yeah.
get destroyed, especially when they do any kind of promotion. That the places
Yeah, that
get
gets
torn up.
nuts.
They get
Yeah.
torn up and disgusting. But I love this image because if you put your thumb over like the left eighth of the image,
Yeah.
you would
Yeah.
think this was an art
Yeah.
gallery.
Could be anything.
You would
Yeah.
think that these were people at an art gallery attending an opening,
Exactly.
and it's an amazing
Yeah. The
contrast that
lighting is really interesting. Yeah.
they're waiting in line for a burrito.
Yep. It's interesting. So again, it's like what is Chipotle selling? Are they selling you a burrito, or are they selling you an experience of burrito? You know?
This is 100% Rochester experience because there's no opening.
Yeah,
This is what it is.
it just is.
Let's go to the Taco Bell, where a different but somewhat similar scene is unfolding. As you know, Taco Bell is removing pretty much all employee interaction with customers.
Yeah.
And we can see the gentleman in the baseball cap facing us who is ordering on a kiosk. And every person in the image is looking at their phone, waiting for their order.
Yep.
Tell me about
It's
this.
sad. It makes me sad. I
Why?
mean, sincerely, it really does. I think that it's so representative of now. Taco Bell was always one of the more I always found it to be a more one of the funner or more enjoyable sort of fast food experiences. You had a party night, you would go to the drive-through at Taco Bell. I remember drive-through Taco Bells being like 40 people deep sometimes, line out the street, and it kind of didn't matter because it was 2 in the morning and you wanted to get a couple of crunchy gorditas or whatever. And now again, it is just like everything else. This could be the DMV. This could be waiting for the next teller at the bank. It could be anything, and it's just I don't know. It's a little. It's not. I don't. Depressing is a little strong. I'm not miserable looking at this, but it's a little sad. I just sort of miss sort of what we've given up in the name of, efficiency and corporate sort of profit and all that kind of bullshit. Um, but I think it's interesting to see just all these, it looks like almost all dudes just sitting there waiting for somebody to call a number so they can grab their food and then I would assume exit the building.
My
Probably not sit and enjoy.
my interpretation is so different.
Go on.
It's very interesting. Your perspective is because it's so different from mine.
Yeah.
Taco Bell, with all the chains, they have to get rid of They have to get
Mm-hmm.
rid of employee interaction with the customer at this point, because the customers are so crazy. The world has changed so much that essentially the cashiers have to be social workers,
Mm.
and it's impossible to deal with the public. Just impossible
Yep.
at this point.
Agreed.
So everything's gone into ordering on your phone or ordering on a kiosk. Fair enough. And there's just a shelf there. They don't call the number. They just put stuff on the
Yeah.
shelf, and they don't want to have any altercation with the customer. Fair enough. And what I see is these are older men who have failed to evolve with society, and therefore don't begin ordering until they get to the Taco Bell. They don't they want that customer service, they want that human interaction that there is no way is going to be provided, and they somehow feel that they have been failed by society or something similar because of this. And so I see the customer in this situation as the failure, not the company.
Interesting. I could see that. Interesting opinion. Yeah, I don't completely disagree.
They've made it so convenient for you to order. You could sit in your car and it would
Yeah.
notify you when to go inside.
So why sit inside? Yeah, and be what appears to be very miserable. Like none of these people look like they're having a good time.
No, they sure don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair point.
Okay. Let's have a look at I don't know what this is. I just wrote combo. Oh, this is really
The
extraordinary.
wing stop.
I've never seen this before. It's a combination Starbucks, Jersey Mike's, and Wingstop. Three things that do not go together.
At all.
The building does not look like anything, yet it is overly designed and decorated. Tell me all about this.
I have not seen I have not seen this before. This is something. Yeah, I think it's so interesting how they're smushing all these together so they sort of mix into nothing. So a Jersey Mike's, a Starbucks, and a Wingstop. That's hilarious. Um, I watch on YouTube this guy Sam Reed, big YouTuber who does a lot of stuff with fast food, and he's been doing all these combo store videos like Kentaco Huts and things like that. And something about them always seems sort of like slightly evil to me. There's something about it that just I don't know what it is. I'm really I want to verbalize it, but it just wigs me out. It's sort of like I sort of almost picture like this is weird. It almost I picture like in the back of the store behind the walls you can't see. It's like that scene from Pink Floyd The Wall when all the kids are going into the meat grinder and it's all like the same paste coming out and they form it into like a latte or they form it into a wing or they form it into a sub. And I don't know, something about it just feels very icky to me.
I'm sure for some people it's very convenient
Yeah.
because they can get all their shopping done in one place.
Would you really call this shopping?
I'm sure a lot of people do, or these
Yeah.
places wouldn't exist.
That's true. That's fair.
Yeah. Let's see what we have next. This is Dave's Hot Chicken. Now, this is a mural unlike any you have ever seen before. Tell me about this.
That's awesome. I'm not familiar with this, but that is phenomenal. I love it. Dave's Hot Chicken. I have not been there. That is delightful. Yeah,
Yeah,
it just puts a smile on my face. Like I love to see it. And I don't know. And again, knowing nothing about this place, I don't know if it's corporate. I don't know if it's a chain. I don't know if it's a one-off
huge
or
chain.
not.
It's one of the biggest fast food chains
Right.
in
So one of the
America.
biggest fast food chains, but they have like figured out a way to manipulate us to make me feel sort of quote unquote authentic. Right. Yeah. Very. It's really it's kind of devious actually. It's kind of devious. Yeah. Because look at the smile on my face. Immediately, I was like, yeah, actual like city stuff. But I'm sure the one in Des Moines has the exact same sign, just says Des Moines. I was duped. I feel duped.
Now, this one was really clever. Tell me about it.
I can't even see
Let
what
me
that
see if I can
is.
enlarge for
Yeah,
you. There we go. So it's the
the Henrietta
Henrietta Town
Town Center.
Center,
Yep,
and it's got all the things, but the Dunkin' Donuts specifically has an arrow directing
specifically
you.
over there. Yeah,
And so when you look at the building, there is a one lane road that goes very far. And when you get to the end of it, there is a Taco Bell.
and a hookah shop. That's amazing.
No, just a
Good for
Taco
them.
Bell at the end
Oh,
of
just a
the.
Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you could shed some light on this.
I this feels very Rochester to me, actually. This feels there's a lot of little plazas like this with sort of some corporate stuff mixed in with some what I hope are independent little stores in kind of a mishmash that really doesn't make sense. But that also to me kind of reads very America. Like that's kind of what we do here is throw stuff together that doesn't make any sense.
You know, you advocate to your students that they need to not work so much and get off campus
Yep.
and explore. And we're going to need you to do your homework and go to the Henrietta
Yeah.
Town Center and explore this sign in the road.
Fair enough. Yeah. Assignment accepted.
Okay. This is the KFC, and I just love this one with the Smoker's Choice attached to it. The Smoker's Choice looks like, to me, the developer intended to put a Starbucks in this
Yeah.
location and was unable to secure the Starbucks franchise, so Smoker's Choice moved in. Tell me
Yep.
about it.
I actually drive by this almost every day on the way to work
Oh,
or the way to
good.
school. So I think I've actually been in that KFC maybe once. But yeah, I agree. It feels it's like very idiosyncratic that it sort of wants to be super corporate. And then all of a sudden there's this smoke, which I assume is a smoke. I mean, I've been in there. I don't smoke. I assume that's a smoke shop of some kind, as in tobacco. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I kind of am really loving the color scheme congruity there is really kind of cracking me up a lot, actually. And the way, like, so then it kind of makes me wonder, like, what's in the middle? Like, is that
I
sort of a
think
no
it's all
man's
KFC.
land?
I think it's all KFC
It's
in the
probably all
middle.
KFC.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I believe the Smoker's Choice goes in this direction towards the
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
It's interesting. It's sort of very kind of surreal in its own way.
Okay, we're going to go to our last image now. This is from Shake Shack, Rochester.
Yep.
Come on, file. Here we go. Open. There we go.
Yep.
Tell me about this.
I've been to that Shake Shack. It's the
Okay.
only, other than the Thruway, it's the only one around in the area. And again, they kind of remind me of Chipotle. Like they're sort of how do I want to put it? Like a highly designed experience, And so I am sure Thanks for Swinging By was corporate wordsmith through copywriters for months and months and months. Having said that, it's a very pleasant store. Like it's nice.
And what's interesting to me is I thought it was the same as the Burger King, where it was like a modern respite from all of the sprawl around it.
Yep. Yep. It's right on this huge, 6-lane strode, retail, people zipping by all day. It took over from a Denny's. Alas, pouring out for Denny's. And it's I don't know, it's I know not a whole lot, a little bit about Shake Shack and Denny Meyer and sort of where it came from, and it is legitimately excellent fast food. Like I really do enjoy their food. I don't do it often, but when I do it, it is really quite good. And I don't know, this feels like sort of a little, again, a little try hard for me. Feels a little desperate in a way.
My guest today was Mitch Goldstein. In the description, you're going to find a link to his book. I highly recommend it. Thanks so much for joining me today, Mitch.
My pleasure, Sam. Thank you so much for having me.
We'll see you next week. Bye,
We'll
everybody.
see you.